the truck here. I got a bunch of parts to put in, switching out to a different style of intake. I have a grid here delete plate from Banks, a pusher style intake horn, 14 mil CP3, injectors, and then waited on some of these parts, 2400 PRV from Exergy, new intake air temperature sensor. This is for my valve cover that's actually on the way. And then I have a set of Hamilton forged valve bridges that are going to be going in, because this is the last thing on the cylinder head that I need to do, other than, I mean, there's nothing else I can do except for put bigger valves in it and have it port and polished. But I'm going to go ahead and set you up on a time lapse, and we're going to dive in here and start working on this thing. Hopefully by the time lapse, you've seen that we have been diving in to the engine. I got the intake plenum off, or sorry, the grid heater delete plate. And that's because we have a new one right here from Banks. And this is all going bye-bye. So is the intake horn, because I have a pusher style, like I said before. I'm really not excited to do the CP3 because I've never done one, and it's a little cluttered down there, but I'm sure we'll manage. The truck has a little bit of grime in here, so clearly it had a few miles on it before someone did a good here delete on it. But we'll clean it up as best we can, get the new one on here. Got the valve train obviously out of here. Go ahead and show you what the new valve bridges look like compared to the old ones. So, at least on my truck, I don't know if this is what it's supposed to be or what, but you have two ends. You have a circular end and more of like an oval end. The oval end was towards the driver's side, which is towards the intake side, and the non-ovaled end was towards the exhaust side. But as you can see here, there is your difference in your valve bridges. On the right is the OEM, the left is the forged valve bridge. So, stock versus Hamilton. So you can see this has quite a bit more material on it, and honestly, it's got a little bit more weight to it, but I feel like it's worth it. Not a considerable amount of weight, but definitely tell there's a little bit more of weight there. But we're in here, might as well do it. And yeah. Oh, my tires showed up. I ordered them actually last night at 10:53 p.m. and they are here already. And I also got confirmation today that my wheels are currently being cut. So those should be here Monday or Tuesday. I'm hoping to have this done. I have the new spicy tune uploaded, because what's in it will definitely not do for our injectors in our CP3. Went ahead and got the old injectors out and got the new 100% overs in. Got the feed tubes tightened back down, injector hold downs tightened back down, so they are ready to go. Unfortunately, there's been a slight setback. I've already fixed it, or I've come up with a solution, but I was going to mount my catch can over here, and see there's two holes here, and I actually bought a bracket that mounts to this Vibrant catch can. And let's see where it's at. This is from Linko Diesel, and I don't think I'm going to use it, because when I actually put it on here, my issue is, number one, my oil dipstick is in the way, and two, I just don't like the angles to go to my valve cover. But what I've come up with, what I've come up with, excuse me, is to mount it right in here, actually. Still should have enough room for the hood to close and not hit anything. So as long as I get it low enough, we should be good. So I'm actually getting ready to go ahead and drill this out, get some riv nuts, and we're gonna head out. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill a smaller hole, and then I'll drill the bigger hole here. There's one. There's already an existing hole here, so we'll go ahead and just drill that other hole out a little bit bigger, but let's go ahead and get this hole here finished up. Step it up to the correct size. My thinking here is to put a riv nut in both of these. That way I can mount my bracket, and then I can put my catch can on, and it should be perfectly good right here. Perfectly good, wow. Okay, there's that one. And there's that one. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna get our handy dandy tool here, Doyle. Gonna go ahead and, I got the correct size out right here. Go ahead and get our tool out. Go ahead and we're gonna take it apart here. Take that off. This collar unlocks. This part unscrews. Once it unscrews, this part comes out. You gotta push that collar down while you spin this off. Easier said than done with one hand. Once this comes off, you go ahead and keep it with the correct fitting. Sorry, turn another way here. Go ahead and keep it with this. This will go back in the, what size is this? This is a 1/4 by 20. So I'll put it back in this case, and then you go ahead and install your new one the same way, just like that. That's on there. You put the collar on. Go ahead and screw the collar down. And then the actual collar goes fully on. Perhaps, there it goes. And now you are ready to use the rivet nut, yes. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and load this riv nut up in the riv nut gun. And what you wanna do is go ahead and open it up, get your riv nut on there. I will tighten it down all the way, and I'll back it off some, because if you don't and you leave it all the way down, whenever you go to use it, you gotta start from all the way out here, and you don't need all of that in order to crush it. So back it off just a little bit, and then you go ahead and get it started in the hole. We'll go ahead and do this first one. So it's in there, and you basically just squeeze all the way together as much as you can. If you really want to, you can thread it in a little bit more. Do it again. Make sure you fully get it in there. And now there is a permanent riv nut in that hole. So we'll go ahead and do the other one. We're gonna do that, throw it in a little bit more, do it again. It just ensures that it's fully in there. And just like that, we have 2 riv nuts right there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and grab the catch can bracket and hold it up there to see how we did. I actually ordered the correct bolts, which they're 1024, and they are on the way. But at least we can see how good we did. So if you can see there, It's looking like they're gonna mount up perfectly. That gives me a room up and down a little bit. So catch can should sit about right there. I've already checked to make sure that the hood clears. So, and the intake clears. Should be perfect. Look at that 5-blade in there. It's doing 5-blade stuff. I had some more free time, so we went ahead and finished up the catch can. I know you don't see all of it. I have the hose actually tucked down here, but went ahead and mounted the catch can over here, and I will show you the actual hoses once it's all done. But I have been working on the CP3 down here, and it really is not the easiest to access. So I went ahead and popped my upper radiator pipe off. I went ahead and slid back on because I'm gonna go ahead and finish up for the night. But I loosened all the wiring here, unplugged a few things, made some room. It's actually held on by a 10mm back here and down there, holding this wiring harness up against the block. Went ahead and took those off, the fuel rail, the banjo bolt here, your feed line, and your these are T25 torch bits for your FCA on the back of your CP3 right there. Then there is a 13mm nut back there, one behind the feed right here. Oh, excuse me, my allergies are kicking my butt today. And then there is a 13 on the bottom as well, and they're all 3 nuts. And then on the inside, it is a 1 1/16" nut underneath this cover. There's actually a cover on the front of the case. You just use a 3/8, oh, I can't think of the word. You know what I mean. One of these, 3/8. And pop that off. It's plastic. It comes off pretty easy. There's a rubber gasket on it, just like a dust cover, but that comes off. And once you pop that nut loose, you'll have to pop the nut loose, you'll actually have to hold the engine still. And I actually have let's see if I can see it down there. I have a barring tool. Oh, there we go. I have a barring tool in the inspection port for the transmission, and also that's where you take your fletch plate to torque converter bolts out. But that is holding the engine so it doesn't turn at all. Crack that nut loose. I think it's 40 foot-pounds to put back on, I believe. Don't quote me. And then you need a puller, a injection pump puller for this to actually hold to the gear, because the CP3 is actually tapered, and the actual shaft, if I can get it out here, oh, this side, the actual shaft, is tapered. That is actually a little too much. Tapered. Ooh, my allergies are really kicking my butt. But with that taper, it's basically pressed onto that gear, and you need a little bit of leverage to get it off there. So you'll basically just put that on there and then tighten it up, and it'll actually just push that off there. Other than that, I think we're done for tonight. I have to wait on that tool. You can use our harmonic balancer tool. Obviously, this is back whenever I did it before, or not did it before. I was gonna do a different vehicle, but I chopped the end of a harmonic balancer off, and I actually lost the bolts to go in. And I don't know what thread they are, but I like to have tools, so I'm gonna go ahead and just order another one, because I already have Cummins parts like this, the barring tool. I have, oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. Actual fan clutch tool for 6.7 Cummins. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it there for the night, and we will pick back up whenever I get the tool and we get this CP3 popped off here.